Hello and welcome to Your Space with your host Hannah Arinitwe. We are here once again to discuss each and everything under the sun in relation to young people and the fight against corruption. Now with me in studio is a fantastic team and I'm very excited for today's episode. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Hello to the lady on my left. How has your week been, Doctor?
Thank you very much, Hannah. My week has been good. I am Patricia Achano Kiria, Deputy Inspector General of Government, and I'm very happy to be part of this conversation here this evening. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the show. How has your week been?
My week has been splendid. God has blessed us with rain.
Oh,
yes.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, my name is Joel Sakwa, and I'm very happy to be with these distinguished people on the panel.
Hello to the lady at the extreme end.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
And dear viewers, my name is Patience Nuwagaba. I am a student leader at Makerere University. I'm the GRC of the School of Liberal and Performing Arts. I am a dramatist, I'm a writer, and I'm very, very delighted to be here on this amazing program.
Thank you so much for honoring our invite today. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about a generation committed to responsibility and devoid of corruption. What does this world even look like in your perspective, Dr. Patricia?
Well, when we talk about responsibility among the young people, to contribute to our taxes, to ensure that they're living in a clean and healthy environment, to take care of the rights of others and take care of your neighbors as well. So here being responsible means being answerable for the decisions we make on our day-to-day basis, being accountable for something which is within our control, within our power, or within our management. So as young people, we need to be committed to responsibility and also to remain accountable. Because accountability is a very significant part in fighting corruption. When we talk about fighting corruption, we are saying transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption are very core in the fight against corruption. And young people out there are supposed to develop that sense of responsibility. But we ask ourselves again, how do they get to develop that sense of responsibility? Still, it goes to upbringing by parents. The parents are supposed to raise children who are responsible. They're supposed to raise children with values, with morals, with principles, which will groom them and bring them up as people who contribute positively to the development of this country. So even teachers and adults play a very significant part, especially in mentoring, in tutoring, in teaching the young people to come out as people who are responsible. Responsibility should be taught at school, and like I said in the Constitution, everybody has a duty to contribute towards this country, to fight corruption, first of all to respect the coat of arms, to respect the national anthem,
Even those things matter.
Yes, to protect the children. It is all about responsibility, and it is all packaged, well packaged in Article 17 of the Constitution.
I liked how you picked out on accountability. I think this is something that so many of us feel just comes naturally, but it's actually something that is slowly instilled into us. Joe, how do you picture a Uganda with a responsible youth citizenry devoid of corruption?
I would call it a generation that has the package we are trying to impart with these values. Yesterday I was talking to my brother, and he's a medic. He was giving me a scenario about how people, when they come from medical school, everyone is excited to get this government job and
The internship or the job?
No, the job. Like,
after the internship?
Yes, after the internship. So everyone really is out to get this job, but the why they want to get this job is what fascinated me. So he told me that people want to get the job because the government job or the job in the government hospital will be the side hustle. So they will go, yes, so they will go out and do everything else that they want to do, and the government salary will come as a backup. So this is what he said, that a friend told me that for me, once I get a government job, I will be there on Monday and Friday, and that means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I'm at my...
Yes, I'll be at my personal.
And those are the wrong intentions, Hannah. We are fighting this corruption. This is the spirit behind this conversation. We need to discourage such attitudes and do the mindset change. Someone should not have our government job as a backup.
Exactly.
As a side hustle, but has a main thing elsewhere they are doing. And yet the government is investing a lot in that individual. Definitely. So I think we need to work together to rub or delete that mindset from the medical students.
And this is interesting. I don't think so many people even consider this as corruption.
That is.
You know, and they're always the very first people to point fingers. But I was actually at a debate yesterday, I said, when you're pointing a finger at someone, the other three fingers are pointing back at you.
Very true.
So I do know, Patience, that you are a creative in your space. In your particular space, what are some of the prevalent forms of corruption that young people face?
Thank you so much, Hannah. The most outstanding form of corruption that we in my industry have is something people usually don't really see this as a form of corruption, but I think it is. Networking, who do you know? Where do you know?
Gamba Nogu.
Exactly. People call it Gamba Nogu. Yes, it is very, very rampant, and it is so heartbreaking that when people have the ability to do something, they cannot get the space because someone who knows the person who is in charge has already got there for them.
That's true.
Yes, so that is like the most outstanding form of corruption that we have. And I must say it is puncturing holes in the system. It is puncturing holes in whatever we do, the quality of work we produce, the people we employ, because some people are not employable. Even when they get to a place, what keeps them there
is the Gamba Nogu.
Exactly. What keeps them there? They are untouchable. Those untouchables in those spaces.
And I think so many young people feel very discouraged. Absolutely. I've finished my university. I've done my internship. I am passionate, ready to learn. But some Gamba Nogu there is not giving me the opportunity to shine. You speak so passionately about it. Have you experienced something like along those lines?
Ooh, oh my God. So, I'm a playwright. I write severally, but I do screenwriting as well. And when I just joined campus, I had a dream to be a filmmaker, and I acted upon it during vacation. I was doing some little bit of work, added up some savings, and I must say it's the first. It's like the first amount of money I had in my bank account, and I was very excited. Okay. Yes, and a friend told me, with less than $1 million, you can actually make a film. Okay. And I was very, very excited. So I kept that money and I reached out to some people. I had my script ready. Okay. But then everything was too good to be true. I thought I was almost there. We had the shooting, I directed. Everything was really smooth until the post-production time. When the editing had been done, I had to receive the first draft of the film. And then here, my editor is telling me, I am not going to give it to you.
Why?
Unless
you part
with not just money, sexual.
Your dignity.
What? Yes. Yes. I was shocked, I tell you. I was very shocked. And I realized that if it was another person, I said no, really. But it was one of the most heartbreaking experiences I had ever gone through at my first year at university. And my first shillings as a person. And I want to break the creativity space with my first film and say, I have a film, you can go and look it up. And then this person tells you, in order for me to give you your film, you have to sleep with me. It was so heartbreaking. But I walked away from it, and it is something I look back and say, I'm glad I walked away from it. But how about those who cannot walk away
Thank
from
you.
it?
How many other young girls
It's
are being
How about those
exploited?
who cannot walk away from it? It is very heartbreaking. And I must say, it happens a lot. Truthfully, it happens a lot. Where people don't tell and show, it happens a lot. Young people out there, some of them are not outspoken. Some of them fear that they are going to be blamed instead for not taking the right procedure. Because I can honestly tell you, I didn't know about contracting and writing contracts and agreements. I didn't know about that thing. I have heard of it, but I didn't know how to go about it.
Now, for you, Patience, you had some sort of conviction to say no against the kind of corruption and sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other challenges those people who don't have, you know, that kind of confidence? What other challenges they face when they are fighting, you know, such kind of corruption, Doctor? What do you think?
I think, well, it's a very touchy experience Patience shares here. But you know, as young people face lots of challenges out there in respect to corruption. She has talked about sexual exploitation, but there is also cheating exams, bribery, and so on, nepotism. So we've got to tackle issues to do with the moral and ethical dilemmas, especially in managing to deal with corruption, where you have strong, important decisions to take. Like that one, Patience had to say no. But how many out there would accept and quietly have the thing done, but when they have compromised their standards? So there are those ethical dilemmas, but we need to set standards, principles, values. If we stand for integrity and honesty and truthfulness, we're able to navigate. And then somehow we have to think about creative ways of dealing with it, creative ways of being able to navigate through such issues. But definitely out there are several forms of corruption affecting young people, which we know, which we deal with every other day, like cheating of exams. You've heard about people who move around the university and want to sit exams for students. And even writing dissertations. Some of us who have marked, you get frustrated and see that this person just did copy and paste.
Oh, wow.
And then there is the issue of copyright. In the world,
yes,
you're coming up with a song, another person is repeating it, another person is copyright, duplicating your knowledge, taking your works out there and presenting them as their own. So corruption normally inhibits a lot, especially when it comes to public service, which are really very critical, an area which also affects the youth. When it comes out to getting jobs, you hear that there are some people selling these jobs. So as the young people, we need to get up, rise up, and fight against this vice. How do we do this? We need to name and shame. We need to report these cases. Name and shame, report these cases, clearly bring them out so that the institutions like the Inspectorate of Government can take them up and deal with it. Because when you look at corruption, it impacts negatively in the lives of the youth, in the lives of children. When you look at the tendencies by service delivery, for instance, in the medical sector, people take children to hospital and there are no drugs. The education sector, children are suffering because they can't access medical treatment. Someone else has stolen away the drugs. So we really need to think about stretching this conversation further and tackling solutions to some of these problems. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to go for a break. We're going to be right back. Do not change the dial. Welcome back from that mini break. You are still here on your space with your host, Hannah Arenito. We're still diving into the conversation of a youth that is responsible and devoid of corruption. We just got into some quite sensitive conversations, and I'm excited that we're getting so much feedback on our social media at Your Space Uganda on Twitter. Now, Sakwa, what have been some of the challenges you have personally faced when you are fighting corruption in your area? And I'm sure in the law fraternity, that is something you guys come across on a daily.
Yeah, certainly. And for a student much worse.
It's
because, yeah, her experience, we greatly sympathize. It is one of them. And one time, I was, those who know Makere, at the rugby grounds, and it was pretty getting dark. And suddenly, 2 police officers emerge. And of course, they ramble a few words that some of us weren't able to understand because they were in Kiswahili. It's like someone throwing orders. And it's really fast. We couldn't understand. Before we knew it, we were paraded somewhere.
This is in 2023?
This very year. Okay. This very year, to be more exact, about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So, as we are paraded, he speaks some words in English. Of course, he knew some English. And he was telling us, you know, you're not supposed to be here. And of course, for us, we don't know. We are students. We don't know whether you are in the wrong place. We don't. I've read the university rules. I've never seen any rule to the effect that you're not supposed to sit. You're not supposed to sit at the Impis rugby grounds at 7 p.m.
Okay.
So I tried to explain. Of course, he was not ready to listen. And I have my colleagues. So he asks a question. What is your student number? Suddenly. And I give him the student number. And after every sentence, I was saying, yes, sir. So it actually turned into a funny scenario. Very, very, very funny. Because he was asking for money. He said, okay, make water. You know what make water means? Like, of course, give me a bribe, like something like that. So on a daily, really, we want to fight corruption. But there are 2 inhibitors. There is greed and need. We have needy people. There are people that are genuinely needy. You know, one time we were traveling to Mbale with my dad and one police officer. We stopped, the car was genuine, everything was okay. Then she said...
Were you on the driving, you were not driving?
No, I was in the co-driver's seat.
Okay.
So he says that, he tells my dad that, could you come out, I talk to you for a minute. Then my dad, of course my dad knows what happens in such scenarios. All Ugandans know. So he said, Joel, go. Then when I went, she said, why didn't he come himself? And I said, he said that I should go. I gave some reason and I said, okay, it's well. Then she asked me, just tell him, I just want lunch. So that's what we call need. She said, I just want lunch, and we gave her about 5,000. And that is okay. So in Uganda, we have need, but we also have greedy people. Yeah. So those are the challenges. So if you may handle greed by using force. You force, make sure that you put there the infrastructure that is going to handle people when they exceed their desire, you control them. But need also needs to be handled. So among the young people, we have to be more self-reliant in ourselves. We have to learn how to trust ourselves more. Learn how to work for ourselves so that we are not put in those compromising positions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Patience, what are some of the solutions you think young people should engage in when they get faced with such challenges? How best have you, for example, you know?
Okay, I've heard from several people, and I actually believe it as well that being responsible and doing what you are supposed to do is doing the right thing, being with the right people, and actually making sure that everything that you do is right, even when no one is looking at you. It is very hard for someone to do what is right, even when the lights are off. So you have to have the will to do what is right, even when no one is looking at you. Yes, even when there's no one looking, and you for example have to do that work, you have an assignment, you don't have to cheat around and then go and maybe use ChatGPT.
Go to NASA.
Go to NASA.
No, but on the issue of ChatGPT, I don't know why many of us demonize ChatGPT and AI. AI came to help people make their work easier. I think the issue comes in when you use ChatGPT and then you lie that you didn't use any artificial intelligence, maybe.
Have you heard people say that the generation right now is comprised of very lazy people?
Yes.
To an extent, I agree, because we have let technology do all the work for us. We've let technology take over our thinking, our creativity, what we would rather have gotten through sweat and pain to feel good about it. We are getting it on a platter, a silver platter. And that is not okay.
For me, I am pro AI, pro ChatGPT.
Hannah, I have a question for you. How do you reference ChatGPT? you put so and so footnote ChatGPT.
Anyway, this is a conversation for a whole different day. For you, Dr. Patricia, how best would you guide the young people when they get faced with such challenges while fighting corruption in their different spaces?
Thank you very much, Hannah. For me, I'm here wondering what AI is and ChatGPT, because I believe in using my mind, creative thoughts, creative work, new innovative ways in doing things, and that is what I would encourage young people to do. You see, young people are the majority of our population, and in the fight against corruption, we look at the youth as our key stakeholders in the fight against corruption, because their involvement will enable them have a brighter future, because they are the future leaders. So when you have those instances, like the instance Patience shared, the example Joel just shared, if you can name and shape, come out and report, so that those people are put in their places, so that they are disciplined, because out there other people are getting encouraged to do more and more wrong things, because now it has become like a normal way. Joel has said there is need, but there is also greed. But now, how do you draw the line? Between is the person supposed to be able to asking for money, demanding for money on the roadside because is in need? If he's in need, there are other ways of handling those needs, but not taking bribes by the roadside. So you find that young people face lots of challenges, like it has been alluded to. There are obstacles in the fight against corruption. Sometimes there's lack of knowledge. They don't have the information, the rightful information that will help them be able to come out and be able to demand for accountability from government.
I think one of the biggest solutions that I think has been shared here is name and shame. Particularly for me, I really name and shame. I don't care who you are. If you're doing the wrong thing, I will name and shame. But that comes with a whole, other level of nurturing and confidence. Not everybody can do that. So that's why I think also parents play a pivotal role when it comes to these solutions. Now, as we come to the end of this conversation, I just want to know from Joel, first of all, what is your pledge to be responsible as a young person in this country?
Okay, that is long term and short term.
What is your pledge?
Yes, so name and shame zenye zobutabisobola.
And where you can't.
Yes, but
that's why it's soft-hearted to name and shame. Too soft-hearted.
But there are very many other engaging ways that, especially when it comes to giving us young people a voice. I've seen so many cancer runs, this run, that run, and about several different causes. And I believe this could be our opportunity to make it regular, to do a run against corruption. Corruption run. Yes, corruption, anti-corruption.
Please pitch to Doctor after the show. Pitch to how you plan.
This should be like, it could be, because young people are many, and we have the voice. So the moment we get out there with our T-shirts and we raise awareness in our communities, we can do something big that can shake this nation. The other thing that I talked about, still in the arena of raising awareness, we have like this discussion. I'm not centering on police, but just for the sake of what I say today, just to give a solution. Many times we may focus on the police, but the people that actually give them the bribes are the citizens.
We encourage them.
Yes, they are the drivers, the border men, the taxi drivers. So if we have something like we can do for them, maybe a sticker to get them involved, you will also feel ashamed when you have a sticker.
That
I'm
says
fighting against corruption.
It's hard to ask for that
let me
percentage.
give
Yes, Patience.
opportunity.
What is your pledge in your sphere of influence when it comes to fighting corruption as a young person?
Okay, over time I have pledged to, first of all, use art to speak to people, because art reaches very, very many spaces. Drama, film, dance and song, they reach a large sphere of people in a very short time. Yes, so I have pledged to, at all times, use art as a way of creating awareness, because some people do not know
That's true.
some forms of corruption are actually corruption. They think the only form of corruption is
in
probably
government.
in
The
government,
public
Embezzlement.
when people embezzle millions of money. But even when you take that salt from a leader, an LC1 who is contesting for the post, you're being corrupt. You are encouraging corruption. So having knowledge about corruption is very, very important. So I have always pledged to use art as a means of creating awareness among the people. But also, I think one thing that people must know is that it begins with us. Yes? If you give someone the gap to request for a bribe, then you are unknowingly or knowingly encouraging corruption.
them.
Yes, if we at all followed the road regulations and rules, had our documents in place, follow the traffic rules, these things would not be happening.
Very
That's
true.
true.
Yes, so when you give them opportunity, they have a gap of requesting for the money. So let's be on our best behavior at all times.
I think I never leave the gap. I always put on the most scrunky face when the police stop me. I don't even smile. You see me smiling on that show, Doctor. I don't even smile. Some parting shots, Dr. Patricia, as we close the show.
Thank you very much. By virtue of our responsibility, we all have a duty to fight corruption in this country. By virtue of my responsibility, we normally receive and I sanction investigations and prosecution in 2 cases of corruption. But I call upon young people out there to really join hands in the fight against corruption. Otherwise, we'll continue talking about values, we'll continue talking about this and that. But if we don't take and embrace our responsibility and our roles in the fight against corruption, corruption will grow. Let's move away from lamentation and swing into action. And action means reporting the cases. Action means leadership by example. Action means being able to navigate some of these dilemmas and challenges and coming out victorious, because we are grounded in values of integrity, of truthfulness, and accountability. So I encourage the listeners or viewers out there to basically pick on these principles, because if you stand for the truth and righteousness, you don't go wrong. Because you will love your neighbor, you'll be able to defend your country, you'll be able to stand for things which add value to the national development of this country, and one of those is fighting against corruption. Thank you very much.
Let the conversation continue on our Twitter space at Your Space Uganda. Stop the blame game and start the action game. I am your host, Hannah Arinate. Have a lovely evening.